Right, watch this. Cube and a sphere, Boolean modifier, let's set it to difference. There we go. Let's now swap to union. Both meshes as one object. And intersect, just the overlap. 3 operations, 1 modifier, completely different results. Let me show you when to use each and what to do when it all goes a bit wrong. Hi, I'm Mike, and the Boolean modifier is one of the most useful tools in Blender for hard surface modeling, mechanical shapes, and anything where you need to add parts, cut bits out, or carve clean shapes out of geometry. But, and this is a big but, it's also one of the most frustrating modifiers when it doesn't work. Holes in your mesh, weird shading, and that dreaded inside-out result. We've all been there. So in this video, we're going to cover 3 things. The 3 operations, the difference, the union, and the intersect. The 3 solvers, float, exact, and manifold. And the gotchas that trip everyone up. Let's hop on over into Blender. So different is the default option and probably what you're going to use the most. If we have a cube here and we add in a sphere and just lift that up by 1 unit. I'm also going to get rid of my camera and light as I don't need those. So we've got a cube here. If we select that and go to our modifiers tab and add a Boolean modifier. So under the generate menu, Boolean. It's already set to difference. All we need to do is select the object underneath. You can use the eyedropper here, or you can type in or select the object from the drop down. And here we go. We've got a sphere that has cut a chunk out of the cube. The sphere has been taken from the modified object, the cube. That's what difference is. Now let's have a look at union. The same setup, same cube. If we select our cube and just switch it from difference to union, you can see these 2 objects have been joined together. Now what union does, as the name suggests, is it combines both meshes into a solid object. If we were to have a look at this in wireframe mode, we can see that the sphere doesn't intersect into the object anymore. In fact, it's gone completely. So all the external of the object has been kept. So now we have a brand new object with this detail. Now this is really useful when you've modeled 2 pieces separately and you want them to behave like one solid object. And then finally, we've got intersect. Now, intersect keeps only the geometry where both objects exist. Instead of welding them together or cutting one from the other, you're just left with that overlapping region. If we go ahead and click intersect, you can see we've got that bottom half of the sphere where it intersects with our cube. If we go back into solid mode, we can see it looks like so. Now, this is the one that I and probably yourself will use the least, but when you need it, you really need it. Carving a complex profile out of an existing piece, creating intersecting joints, anything where you only want the shared volume, intersect is going to be your tool. Now before we go any further, let's go to the sphere itself, right click and shade smooth. If we then hide the sphere again, you can see that it is in fact smooth. So it still keeps, even though we've got this operation on our cube, which is flat shaded, smooth shading comes across with the Boolean modifier. And it's not just with intersect. You may think, well, yes, that's the sphere, obviously. But if we go back to our cube and change this to difference, you will see that the inside of it is also smooth. So it's important to understand that whatever the shading is on the cutting object, it will transfer across regardless of what the shading is on the object being cut. Now, one thing that does catch everybody out when you're using the Boolean modifier is the cutting object is in fact still in the scene. If we go ahead and press F12 to render, we can see that the sphere is in fact still in the scene. And this is something that catches everyone out. And there are a couple of things you can do about this. We can simply go to the outliner itself and go and click on the camera icon. And then when we render, it's just not in the scene itself. And obviously I've got a light in there that looks very ominous. But it's still in the viewport getting in the way. So the better fix is to change its viewport display. So if we select the sphere itself and go to its object properties and scroll down, we can go to viewport display and scroll down a little further. And where we have the option to display as, we simply change that to wireframe. And then we can have it visible and actually see what the cutting is doing. In fact, we can move it around and we can see it eating away at the cube as we do so. So now that it's just a wireframe outline, it's out of the way visually, but it's still doing its job as the cutter. And we can see we can finesse the cut if we need to as well. Now, there's one final thing that we need to have a look at here, and that's organization. As I mentioned here, it can be a bit clunky. Imagine if you've got many objects that are a cutting object and suddenly you have to click the camera icon on every single one. I can guarantee you're going to forget at some point. So organization is going to be important wherever, but when you're working with cutting objects, you can actually put them in their own cutting collection. In fact, you can have an object in multiple different collections. So I'm going to set this up now as if we had multiple Boolean modifiers on multiple objects. For instance, here what we can do is right click and have a new collection. I'm just going to call that collection cube, and I'm going to add the cube to it. I'm then going to have cutting objects as a new collection as well. It's just going to be under the main collection here. We're going to have cutters, and I'm going to put the sphere into that. But realistically, if I move my object around, if I go and grab my cube and move it, I want the cutting object to come with it. So realistically, the sphere needs to be a child of the cube. So I'm going to click and drag that up and hold down Shift on top of the cube and drop it. You could also select one and the other and go Control and P. So now you've got the cube that has the sphere under it. So if we move the cube, excellent. And now we have a series of cutters as well. So it's stored kind of in two places. And this enables you to manage it because now we can just turn off the cutters. And then when we press F12, they're not there. So it doesn't matter if you've got 1 or 100 different cutting objects. You can now turn them all on and off with just a single click, or indeed you can just turn off the visibility in the viewport or just the rendering themselves. And just to show you there, I did actually have the rendering off. So let's turn it off so that no cutters can be seen. Press F12, it's not there at all. And finally, if we go ahead and add one final object to this scene, let's go ahead and add in a cylinder. We're going to scale it down a little on the X and Y axis and then scale it on the Z axis so it punches straight through our objects like this. Now what we could do is go back to our cube if we wanted to cut a hole through everything and add an additional Boolean modifier. But if you have multiple cutters you want on one object, you can put everything into a collection. So if I move this cylinder into the cutters collection and then change the operand type to collection, we will now be able to select our collection, in this case cutters, and it cut straight through. And then we don't need multiple Boolean operators on here. Now occasionally that won't work just because of the order of operations. If one thing cuts before another, etc., you don't have as much control with this. And the only final thing here is if you've got a cutters collection like this, what you might want to do is add a sub collection and call it cube cutters, and then you've got a bit more fine control with this cylinder and sphere being part of that. And of course that cylinder also needs to be a child of the cube itself. So now when you move it around, it will move like so. And of course I've not set this to wireframe, so I'd want to do that as well. On the object properties, scroll down underneath the viewport display as, change that to wireframe, and then you can see through the object and be able to control things. And of course, our warnings about what your shading type is, you can see here, we still have that flat shaded. So that has come across when we've used the Boolean operator. If this is helping clear up the Boolean modifier, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Now let's get onto the solvers, because this is where most people actually get a little bit stuck. So you've added your Boolean modifier, you've picked your operation, and the result isn't quite right. There could be holes in the mesh, weird shading, geometry going inside out. The solver is probably the reason why, and there are 3 to pick from. Let's have a look at them now. There's definitely a shading artifact going through our model at the moment. I'd probably want that to be smooth, but we'll get back to that in a moment. If we go to our modifiers, so selecting our cube object, going down to our modifiers, we have 3 solvers. And there we go. We can see the 3 here. We've got exact, float, and manifold. Now float is really quick. So if you've got lots of things that you're working on, this may be ideal. But you can see here, it requires non-overlapping geometry. And if you remember, we've got the sphere. In fact, let's just turn them on again. We've got this sphere and we've got the cylinder intersecting one another. That is overlapping geometry, so it cannot calculate. Now, interestingly, and we'll get back to this in a moment, if we move these around, we might be able to solve that. Exact is the default. It's more precise and it allows things to be right up against one another. So when you've got coplanar faces, it will still be able to take one from the other. A great example usually is something like a doorway in a building or something along those lines, where the cutting object needs to be flush with another part of the object. And then we have manifold. Now, if we just hide our cutters again and go through those, float doesn't work at the moment. Exact works absolutely fine. And then we have Manifold. Now, Manifold requires all of the objects to be a solid shape. Now, what do I mean by that? Manifold basically needs to be able to exist in the real world. So a simple plane cannot exist in the real world. It needs to be a three-dimensional shape, enclosed all the way around. So if I was to go to the bottom of my cube here and select the face at the very bottom and delete it, this is now no longer manifold. You might say, well, hey, yeah, an object like this can exist. It's a box, isn't it? But these faces are infinitesimally thin, and so we can see inside the object at the moment. And in fact, normals are something you should watch out for as well. We can see here, we can see inside the object, and therefore we can see the back faces. This is not an enclosed object. It just won't work. A similar sort of thing applies when you're making 3D prints as well. They also need to be manifold in their nature. But now if we come out of edit mode, this cut is no longer working. In fact, look, it says here, cannot execute non-manifold inputs. Now, if we do exact, it will still be able to cut through, as you can see here. In fact, it's taken it all the way down to the bottom. What does float do? In fact, float here does a very similar thing to exact, but it doesn't actually preserve that bowl shape where the sphere is cutting things out. Right, so let's just repair my cube really quick. There we go. We've just undone back to this point. So we have the float. So let's just dive in and play with this object for a few moments. This is not working because we have overlapping geometry. However, if we go to our cutters and move this down ever so slightly, keep moving it down, there we go. At some point, it just seems to work. Now, this kind of breaks the rule I just said that it can't have overlapping geometry, but this still works at the moment. So this is something to bear in mind, that when you've got float selected, occasionally it will work even though you think it might not. I would still be careful and not use float if you've got overlapping cutting geometry, because if you move something, it might well break. Okay, now I want to dive in and have a look at this geometry in the middle here, because this is an interesting one. I want that to be smooth, but I want this edge around here to be sharp. So we need to do a couple of things, and this would be quite a common operation. So let's go and enable our cube cutting objects. Go to our cylinder with it selected, shade auto smooth, because I want that inside to be smooth. And now if we have a look at the object, hide the cutting objects away, well, it's kind of there, but we've got this lovely sharp edge at the bottom, but here, not so much. So if we come along, selecting our cube and do shade auto smooth on that, we get a very nice cut. Now, occasionally something like this won't work as expected, and you may need to play with various settings here. You can see manifold, exact, and float have different results. In fact, the shading works best on float in this particular case, which hints to the fact that these might need to be separate objects. And so let's demonstrate that now. If this didn't work, what I might have to do is go to my cylinder. If I put it back in its position that it was in before, it obviously wouldn't be working in this case, and we would need to separate it out. Sometimes separate cutters would be beneficial, other times not so much. And you may have to drop out of having this as a collection like we've got here, and you may have to switch back to having multiple Boolean cuts. Sometimes that is just the way, but as long as you organize it over in your hierarchy here, you should be absolutely fine, even if the modifier stack starts to get a little bit more messy, because sometimes that order of operation really does matter. So one more thing, should you keep your Boolean live or apply it? Well, it does depend on what you're trying to do. If you're midway through modeling, I would say just keep it in place. And in fact, you might want to keep it in place for the entire time, because whilst you've got it like that, we can go into our cutters at any point and you can rearrange how your object is being cut up. And that might be worth the fact that you're now having to have a bit more processing time on your computer to do those sort of things. So whilst you're in the block out stage, I would definitely recommend leaving things live so you can manipulate them. However, if you're moving them outside of Blender, or you want to start doing something else with the model, it may be time to apply them. And all you need to do is select that object, and you might want to keep a copy of it, of course, so you can always go back. But otherwise, if you're not going to duplicate it, what you can do is simply use the drop down here and click apply. Now these cutting objects can absolutely be moved out the way. And if we have a look at our model, you can see it now has new geometry. It's no longer a cube, it's actual physical geometry, but it may need some cleanup depending on the type of model you're working with. Now, Blender does have built-in shortcuts for Boolean operations, and there's also the Bool tool add-on if you want a workflow upgrade, as well as things like Mesh Machine and Hard Ops as well for paid options. And there we go. 3 operations: difference, union, and intersect. 3 solvers: float for quick and simple cuts, exact for almost everything else, and manifold. Plus some tips and tricks along the way. I'd love to know about your Boolean disasters and what modifier you want me to deep dive on next. Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more on Blender's modifiers, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these deep dives. Take care for watching. And thanks, I'll see you in the next one. I'm leaving that in. Bye!